Thank you for coming. And it's so funny. I had planned this day because I do this monthly update since January, I think. I started these, well, because of the crazy astrological transits that are going on. Every month I plan my next date, and I just picked this date because I couldn't do last Saturday. I was involved with a really big festival for Sweetbriar Nature Center, and I thought, all right, middle of June. Little did I realize that this was the day of the military parade. All of a sudden, the No King protests were organized. So I especially appreciate any of you who are on your way to a protest or are at a protest. Thank you so much for being an active participant in our democracy. And unfortunately, I have previous engagement after this that I cannot make a protest, but assure you that I will be at another one. I've been at them before. So thank you to all of you who are doing that. If you're not doing that, absolutely cool too. You are here, you are present, and you want to make a difference. So I applaud that. So we have tremendous energies that we're all feeling. And it is just, I was just having a conversation with my friend after our yoga practice this morning. She's an astrological bestie of mine. And we were just remarking at how crazy, crazy all of these very kind of violent, rebellious things are occurring this weekend, especially. Of course, nothing just happens out of the blue. And even the transits in the sky don't just automatically align. They're on their way to alignment, especially if they're outer planets. They move so slow. We can feel their effects for weeks, perhaps even months before they actually make an exact connection. Okay, so what's happening now? There's lots of different configurations in the sky that are, you know, yeah, we always have transits in the sky, and we're not always going to just talk about astrology, but just to put this into context, there is so much mega outer planetary transits that we're going through. And this has been going on since, well, beginning of time. But I mean, 2020 was a huge configuration in the sky that we witnessed when we coincided with COVID and the lockdowns and all that transpired then. Well, we're still seeing these mega transits, and I talk about them every month. So I'm not going to go into detail and bore you every single month, but just in case you haven't heard me, we have Pluto moved into Aquarius, which is big deal because Pluto's transit is like 250 years or so, give or take. So entering the sign of Aquarius is a huge deal because when it was in Capricorn, Capricorn's all about being responsible, kind of grounded, but also being very traditional and conservative. And when it moves into Aquarius, wow, what different energy. The energy is forward thinking and thinking out of the box and yes, rebellion and revolution and technology, AI, looking at considering the community versus Capricorn, which is kind of like top-down structures that we see in our government and corporations. Uranus wants to blow all that apart. So many astrologers are saying, and I agree, that we are now more fully in the age of Aquarius than we ever were, right? We're kind of moving into that. It's a 20, oh gosh, now I'm losing my numbers. It's over a 20,000 a 2,000 year cycle for each sign. So yeah, I mean, it's not like boom, one day you're in Aquarius. So we're transitioning into that, the long, long, long cycles. And is it 2,400 years? Something like 2,600 years, maybe. Um, Someone can correct me on that. So we have that. We just moved into Saturn into Aries, Neptune into Aries, and Uranus next month is going to be moving into Gemini. So we're in this place in time where we're going through these major cycle shifts. And this hasn't been seen for thousands of years. All of these planets moving into these signs, but also moving into signs that are all fire and air. And they moved from signs that were water and earth. So water and earth signs traditionally in astrology have to do with grounded energy, slower moving energy. Fire and air is about speed and accelerated speed, action, moving forward on things rather than just thinking about doing them. It's moving forward. So as you can imagine, everything that I'm saying can be taken in a positive or negative. So these different energies are really accelerating change. And we have to remember, coming back to this understanding that we are here for a reason and we are perfectly in place for these times. Where we are, what we're doing is exactly what we should be doing. We're in the right place. We are supported. We just need to trust that. So talking about support, really wonderful transit that we just started feeling this past week is Jupiter entering Cancer. So yet again, another outer planet moving into a new sign. This one is actually a water sign, right? It's Cancer. Cancer is associated with the mother, nurturing, support, help, community, the family, backing each other up, being there, being a shoulder to cry on, being someone who is there in a trusted, unconditional way. Cancer is also about our Earth and our love for Mother Earth. So Jupiter just moved into Cancer, and it is in its most exalted sign of the zodiac. And that means that it is so happy here. Jupiter's the planet of the benefic. It's a great benefic, planet of fortune, planet of expansion and opening the mind. Jupiter is associated with, well, it rules Sagittarius. So let's kind of go into that too. So this week, we just witnessed a full moon in Sagittarius. So having Jupiter move into Cancer and the full moon in Sagittarius created this really lush, wonderful support for opening our minds, for expanding consciousness, for travel. When we think about Sagittarius and Jupiter, we always think about long distance travel and traveling to all areas of the world, learning about different cultures. And that helps expand our minds and think more globally rather than just within our backyard. So Jupiter also and Sagittarius also helps us develop not just knowledge, but wisdom. Opens to different worldviews and philosophical ways of thinking. So it's really wonderful energy that actually helps boost us a bit during these really crazy times, especially this past couple of weeks. And it just feels like it's accelerating. So, what's dominating the headlines is the fact that, well, what has been dominating the headlines for the past few months is is really kind of an outcome of Saturn conjoining Neptune at 0 degrees in Aries. Now they're not actually conjunct. So loosely they are. I'm not going to get into specifics. Any astrologers out there? I'm not nailing down the exact conjunction, but I know the exact conjunction will be in February of next year. But these two planets are so close in the sky. And as we know, we look up at the sky, they're just like right in alignment with each other. And Saturn has to do with, structure, organization. It rules Capricorn. So it is that father energy, authority, government, rules, structures. Neptune, on the other hand, is what the god of the sea. Neptune is about flowy, kind of can't nail it down, very floaty, misty. It's related to dreams, imagination, but it's also related to delusion and illusion. So all of these qualities are coming together and creating quite a bit of chaos that we see in the outer world. And we can think of it as, yes, these two planets coming together can be about dissolving structure, dissolving what we have come to know as solid foundational systems that have run in the background. So, in that way, Neptune is kind of dissolving Saturn, but looking at it another way, and I love to consider this too. And it doesn't mean that they have to be either or, it could be both. So Neptune is helping to, actually, Saturn is helping to manifest the dream of Neptune, our hopes for the future, what we want to see for our future. So being in this very early degree of Aries, there's actually fire behind that. There's action. There's movement around creating the dream. We have to be careful what dream we're creating. Because Neptune is dreams. It's also the unconscious. So this, to me, is one of the most important things we have to remember. Always, but never more than right now. Starve the fear. Feed the love. It's impossible not to feel a little dizzy. Another great word is zuzzy with everything that's going on. We can't totally disengage because that would be irresponsible. I'm not talking about being on some cloud nine going, I'm not going to be touched. Everything is going to work out. No, that's total disengagement. But yet I'm not going to allow myself to get sucked in to the pit of swirling tornado. That is what the headlines are doing. It's so easy, right? You're on that edge and you can just go, and what happens? It's this negative vortex pulling you down. to the pit. We have to, we have to exercise, or I should say have to. I hate using that word. Consider exercising some discipline to your exposure to the news, to your exposure to people that are coming from this anxiety and fear. So I'm constantly reminding myself that if I'm feeling that, what if this actually does happen? What if this happens? Think, what happens if it all works out? Bringing some curiosity to it. Being able to remove myself. This is what all the wisdom traditions have taught us, to be in our bodies, like fully in our bodies, but be able to detach, to see the big picture. Be on that branch in a tree and look down. We can all do it. It does take a little work at first, but then you can. Look down and see everything happening from a removed place, not because, I'm not going to be bothered and I'm on cloud nine, but see the drama playing out and know that you can detach from it. So I was at yoga this morning, and a good friend of mine approached me and said, I watched your short video this morning where you said, that's not my future. And she said some words to the effect that it saved me this morning. It saved me from spiraling into a pit of despair. And so I was so grateful that she said that, because for anyone who does these posts, these videos, you don't know where it's going. You put it out there, you're coming from your heart. And sometimes you wonder, is anyone even listening? Is this helping anybody? So it really, really helps when people like and people comment and share. It is important when there's wisdom, little bits of wisdom that are shared that you feel are helpful to you. It will be helpful to another. So I am so grateful that she told me that this morning, because I said, well, I'm getting on Instagram Live and Zoom this morning. I'm going to bring it up. Short story. It's kind of like one of my origin, or what I like to call like your personal mythology, which gives this a golden thread to what I do now. So I was about 12 or 13. I was over my best friend's house, and her family was watching Soylent Green. It is a well-done movie with Charlton Heston and Edgar G. Robinson. It is one of the earliest movies about the apocalypse, after the apocalypse. And I remember sitting there in horror. And I do remember my mother saying she didn't want me to see the movie. So here I am at my friend's house, and her parents let me watch it. So I was like, I can get away with it. But that movie horrified me. And if you've never seen it, just Google, there's a scene, and it brings tears to my eyes. Edgar G. Robinson plays this character who saw the world before the apocalypse, and Charlton Heston never knew it. So Edgar G. Robinson, he's an older man, of course, in this movie. He goes to get euthanized because he can't stand living in this world anymore. And actually, I'm sorry, he didn't know the world before. I mean, there was glimpses that he had. But he was sitting in the chair and he would go to this place to get euthanized and they'd pump you full of whatever, and you would be sitting watching this screen. And across the screen was the beauty of nature, the sunrise, the birds taking flight, you know, fill in the gaps, the beauty of nature. And he sat there crying like a baby, like it was like that. I didn't make it up. It was like that. And I remember, I don't know if I said it out loud, but at least to myself, I said, that is not my future. It was like there was this boom in my life, and I didn't know how, I didn't know where it came from, but it was this insistence that I will do whatever I have to do, and that will not be my future. So I am an optimist. I'm an optimist, and I'm proud of it. I am proud of it because I have no doubt that we will rise above. We have a beautiful future. We have a beautiful world right now. Just to engage in the sense of the rain. It's raining right now. Just smelling the smell of the rain when it hits dry dirt, the soil. Just seeing birds and watching them and hearing them in the morning. There's so much beauty now. So I just want to say that is not my future because it isn't. It isn't our future. And if you feel the same way deep down in your heart, please do a shout out. Please share this video. Please comment. Please like. I want to hear that I'm not alone. And if you don't feel this in your heart, I want to say, take some breaths, take some special time for yourself. We can feel very chaotic like a tornado in these times with these headlines, with what's going on around the world, especially what's going on in this country. I just ask you to imagine all of that, right? You can feel that tornado and that vortex just spinning you down. Just if you can recall this, just come back. Just bring yourself back into silence for a few minutes and imagine that your energy is just, you're coming into your heart. Put your hand on your heart. I've been doing this now for calls with my students and clients for the past 5 years, actually, since COVID. Just put your left hand on over your heart and breathe. And with each breath, just realize that you are connecting to the natural world. You are part of the flow of oxygen and carbon dioxide. You are nourishing everything on this planet with your exhale. And every being on this planet is nourishing you with its exhale as you breathe in. And realize that we have this dynamic symbiotic relationship. My work has shifted, although, yes, I started in marketing many years ago, and finally I realized this is not my love. I mean, I enjoyed it, and it was a good foundation in many ways. I'm not going to say that it was time wasted, no regrets at all. I did enjoy it. I loved my work until I didn't. And I knew there was something more for me as far as I didn't realize that it was a thread back to the Soylent Green movie and the fact that that is not my future. I didn't make that connection until probably about 10 years ago, maybe. But this coming back to the breath, coming back to what we love, our passions. I am so grateful that I am now like meeting at least weekly, sometimes twice a week, with people who are sharing deeply moving experiences in nature for my podcast, The Enchanted Earth. And my book that came out in December, The Enchanted Earth, has beautiful stories of connecting to nature. So every time I do an interview, I'm like, oh, that's got to be like my favorite. And just the ways that people are expressing their passions for this planet in their work, or expressing their love for other humans and bringing that out to the world, and how nature has played a role in that is just so heartwarming, and it is lifting me up. So I am so grateful. I get off, Zoom with the people I'm interviewing, or I finish editing an interview, and I'm just like, wow, I'm uplifted. So I hope that you are doing something that uplifts you on a regular basis, whatever that is, be it taking a walk in nature or something in your career that you love, that you feel you're making a difference. I do hope that for you. And, this is really one of the most, well, these few years that we're living through are the most pivotal times in the history of humanity, at least that we know of. Who knows what happened back with Lemuria and Atlantis? But at least in modern history, this is the pivotal point. You don't want to be taken down by fear. Starve the fear. Feed the love. And get into a place in your heart that you feel safe and secure. And just send that out to everybody. Send that out not just to your family and friends, but people that you have challenging relationships with. Because what we do in our backyard makes a difference. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. I am so grateful for your presence here. And for those of you who are watching later, yes, please share, comment, like. Let's get the word out. Starve the fear, feed the love, which is something that astrologer Pam Gregory says all the time. And I am so grateful for all of her podcast interviews and videos about the astrology of today and with other people. So again, thank you, everybody. And I look forward to catching up with you. Please DM me if you have anything to share. And yeah, until next month, I'll have to look at, maybe it's the first Saturday in July. Take the greatest care.